Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Hi everyone.
Hello everyones.
My name is David Bell.
I'm Tom Ryman.
And we just watched The Last Witch Hunter.
Good God, did we ever.
Yeah, because it's great.
It is.
Here's what you don't understand. What your kind never understood. You will be hunted.
This is this is brought to you by a patron subscriber. As you all have probably figured out, usually our Thursday episodes are episodes that were given to us by people who selected a specific tier on our Patreon,
Yes.
patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. This is brought to you by Nolan Matten. And he gave us kind of a choice of a series of Vin Diesel movies to choose from to celebrate Vin Diesel.
Right.
As we should. And I think we pretty quickly landed on this.
Yeah, I don't even remember what the other choices were.
Yeah.
It's like Babylon AD or some shit. We're like, no.
No. Because we had both seen this movie. I own this movie. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. This movie rules.
Yeah. I don't think we have to ask each other what we think of this movie.
No.
I love this movie.
The first time we all saw this movie, we rewound the part where she's like, but the Witch Queen is dead. Bringing her back is impossible. And then Vin Diesel goes, is it impossible?
Yes. There's so many good moments like that in this.
Yeah. It's so great.
This movie didn't do great in the box office.
No, not at all.
I think
not at all.
It cost like $90 million to make, and it made like $130 back. And who knows what kind of marketing was happening? Vin Diesel teased a sequel when it first came out, but I have a suspicion that it.
Probably not.
I don't know. At the same time, Vin Diesel has done sequels way after the fact before.
That's true.
So maybe we'll get one. Maybe by doing this podcast, we'll drum up some more excitement. They'll see big sales, and we'll save the franchise.
It's true. It all hangs on us.
Yes, because that's my first thought about this movie is I want more of it. I want more of these movies.
Mm-hmm. Let me be clear. This is the nerdiest movie.
Yes.
It's just full-on Dungeons and Dragons in modern-day world.
Well, it's literally based off of Vin Diesel's Dungeons and Dragons character.
Yes.
The screenwriter based, everything off of that after a conversation with Vin Diesel. It's about a world where witches are amongst us. It's I know why this movie failed because we were deep in like the Harry Potter stuff and all that genre where people were just kind of tired of it. I get it. Still no excuse for it to fail.
Right, like what the hell is wrong with you people?
Yeah, not the opening scene, but one of the opening scenes is Vin Diesel doing rune surgery on a plane.
On a plane in the middle of a hurricane.
It's great.
Because this young witch has carelessly brought powerful runes onto the airplane.
Yeah, Vin Diesel's witch cop.
He's witch cop.
Yeah, he's cursed. He was cursed early on in his life in the medieval olden times.
Yeah, 800 years ago.
Yeah, by a witch.
Mm-hmm. The Witch Queen.
The Witch Queen. Yeah, the queen of all the witches. And I love her curse because as he's killing her, she's like, I curse you with life. And anybody who's lived more than like 20, 30 years is like, oh, that sucks. Because, you don't want all that. And he gets all that.
Yeah.
And so he's cursed with immortality, basically. He can't die. Which is, it's a great curse because it's also, I'm sure that would be cool at first. And then
you'd be into it for like the first 100 years.
Yeah, and even more than that, and then the sun would explode. And you'd be like, shucks.
It's like, man, I got the wrong time to be immortal.
Yeah, you'd just be floating in space.
Yep, it's bullshit.
Yeah, with all the vampires. Oh, no, the vampires would get burnt up by the sun.
Burnt up by the sun?
Well, no,
man.
all right, if the sun exploded... It depends on how the sun exploded. If the sun fizzled out, then the vampires would be like, now's our time. and he'd just be
Well, you would
hanging out with
assume
all
it's
the
not
vampires.
specific to the sun. It must be all starlight, right? So if they get close enough to a star, that shit'll just burn them
I
right
feel
up.
like we've talked about this because, yeah, it's got to be starlight is what actually kills them, but it's a certain proximity because they can go out at night,
Yeah.
but they can't travel through space, obviously.
Man, I don't know. I hope not.
Yeah, and I'm sure moonlight kind of hurts them, right? Because it's starlight reflected.
It must.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what their problem is, but yeah, it cuts to Vin Diesel on the plane, and yeah, he's like witch cop, and a witch put a couple of runes in her bag, and
Her
it's
carry on.
yeah. I love the idea that runes are dangerous. And
Yeah, it's like she smuggled a gun onto an airplane.
yeah, and so it mixes the weather together, the weather runes, and it's causing a hurricane. And he calmly does rune surgery because he doesn't die. So worst case scenario is like all these people die around him, like he's
Right, yeah, like they make a like the plane is in serious jeopardy and people are panicking and the oxygen masks have dropped and everything, and they make a point of showing that he's just like cool as a cucumber,
Oh, yeah.
cutting these runes apart. But it's like, well, it's because if the plane crashes, he's gonna be fine.
yeah, it's like Batman v Superman, where everything explodes
Yeah.
around him. He's just like me. It's
Yeah.
that
Me.
he'd be bummed, I guess, but
Yeah, he'd be sad that he didn't complete his quest.
yeah, he might have to swim a bunch if they're over the ocean, or it
By
would
the
be a
way,
pain.
he literally refers to a character as a level 14 warlock.
Yes. It's so good.
This is just Dungeons and Dragons, and it's the fucking best.
Yes. It also, my God, the thing that shocks me every time I watch this movie.
Is that Michael Caine is in it? Because
Well-
I forgot about that.
Yes, there's a few because it does. After that scene, he hits on the flight attendant, I believe, and then
Yeah.
it cuts to like a shot in New York, and then in comes like there's a bunch of witches, and it's just like, oh shit.
It's a world of witches
Yeah.
living just beyond the surface of what we all can normally see.
it's
And I'm like, what the fuck?
It starts with Michael Caine narration.
Yep.
Holy shit. And like this was again, that was such a cliche at the time.
Well, it was. I know exactly because you heard this. You might have the stories around Chronicles of Riddick. Is he really had to woo Judi Dench to get into
Yes.
the movie because he really, really wanted her to be in the movie. I assume a similar process occurred with Michael Caine, where he was like, "I've got to have Michael Caine in this movie."
Okay, I think you're right. That said, Michael Caine also agreed to be in Now You See Me and Now You
Yeah.
See Me 2. So I don't know if Michael Caine. I mean, Jaws: The Revenge,
Well, I'm not
which
gonna
is a
say
great
it,
movie, but
Yeah.
point is,
I'll amend that statement. It might not have taken the same amount of
No,
effort, but
no.
I'm pretty sure Vin Diesel
Well-
was like specifically, we got to get Michael Caine.
the reason I do agree with you is because Michael Caine's character, quote, dies in the beginning. And I remember when I first watched this being like, oh, he doesn't want to be in this movie. And then he comes back at the end because
sure
he's
does.
secretly in a coma. And it was like, oh,
Yeah, he's
okay.
in a curse. He was cursed.
Yeah, Michael Caine probably, because of Now You See Me Too, where he probably did Now You See Me and he was like, this is dumb. And then they're like, we want you back. It's making money. And he was like, really? So he probably was like, kill me off. Actually, no. Put me in a coma so that if this does amazingly, I can come back. I really don't know.
Well, I bet it was to get around his schedule, and like Vin Diesel was like,
Yeah.
"Well, I want to have Michael Caine in the sequel if we do." You know, like
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like it was
all
everybody.
designed.
It was designed
to
so
limit-
that
Yeah,
yeah, if Michael Caine is like, okay, I'm in, this movie worked, because he probably was like reading the script like, I don't understand a word of this shit.
I don't know what any of this means.
Yeah, and they're like, trust us, and he did, and I mean,
The
he
world's
was
a better
right
place
to.
for it. Honestly,
Yeah.
honestly.
Second surprise, and in my opinion, the bigger casting surprise is that the
Oh, yeah.
introduction of Michael Caine is followed by the realization that Elijah Wood's in this.
He sure is.
And I know he's not like a
He's in this so hard you
Yeah.
can't stop him from being in it.
Elijah Wood, statistically speaking, is in more good movies than bad. Like he's
yeah.
in. I mean, it's weird because I almost forget constantly that he's in one of the biggest movies trilogies of all time, and he
yeah.
is the star of it.
Sort of. It's
Sort
an
of.
ensemble.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. He's
He's
the
a major
key.
character,
He
yeah.
saves the
Yeah.
day.
Well,
Yeah.
Sam and Gollum saved the day.
Okay, fair enough. Well, okay, technically, just Gollum. Well, he saves the day by
By carrying the ring, but
by
yeah, at
carrying the
last
ring,
minute
and
there.
then he struggles with Gollum, and then they both fall over. So Gollum kind of saves the day. Unless Sam would have probably shoved his ass in when he was like, no,
Sam
the
would
ring is
have
mine.
come running, hit him like Rudy.
Yeah, I would have been. Oh man, I would have been so pissed if I was Sam. The point is that like he mostly does good movies, including this one. But since Lord of the Rings, he's kind of done smaller movies.
Yeah.
And so it's just delightful to see him pop up. He plays, was it Dolan 37?
Dolan the 38th, I think.
I think it's 3736 because I remembered it was I was like, is that a Clerks reference?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
But they're like the helpers to the witch hunter.
Yeah, they're priests, but part of this order. What is it called? The Axe and Sword?
Who knows? Who can say?
Something like that. It's this order of priests that just exist to serve Vin Diesel's character. I just watched it and I've forgotten his
This
name.
is the problem. Oh,
Calder.
Calder.
Just to serve him generation after generation, and Elijah Wood's the latest of this order that's supposed to just be his sidekick, basically, be his guy in the van.
Right. He's his Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah,
He's the Shia LaBeouf to his Constantine. But he's
pretty much.
yeah, because he's going with
They
him.
are similar stories.
Oh yeah. I feel like there was another story. Oh yeah, this had a little bit of Indiana Jones in it at one point.
A little bit of Indiana Jones, a little bit of Underworld.
Yeah. Yeah, so Michael Caine gets murdered, or so they think at the beginning, and Vin Diesel doesn't have to just witch hunt, he has to witch detect.
Mm-hmm. This movie's a mystery.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's a mystery in the sense that, I mean, spoilers, the moment Elijah Wood shows up, I was like, oh, he's the bad guy. Because he's Elijah Wood.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's done fine because they also have a big bad villain, the Witch Queen. So you're not thinking about it that much.
Yeah, and this is either my second or third time watching it.
Right.
I do like, even knowing what the twist is, like when you watch the movie, it's like, oh, you could have, like, I appreciate that you actually could have guessed exactly what was happening.
Yes.
Because they don't make it too obvious. I mean, when Elijah Wood walks on screen, you're like, I'm pretty sure he's the bad guy. But that's just from like an inside baseball. Like, well, why would you cast him in that role?
Yeah,
and,
it's like when a celebrity shows up in a Marvel film.
Exactly.
It's like,
oh, they're going to be someone.
That's the bad guy. Yeah,
that's the bad guy.
Because why would the celebrity be in this? Agree to be in this if they didn't get to do something fun, like be the bad guy? Yeah,
like be the bad guy. Yeah. But yeah, the mystery is actually. It's not. It doesn't hit you over the head necessarily.
No.
You can't actually figure it out, which I always appreciate.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is a good movie. This is a great movie, Tom.
I fucking love this movie.
Yeah, Elijah. He's like a self. He like hates that he's a Muggle. He was born of witches. And Vin
not
Diesel.
magic.
The reveal is the idea is that Vin Diesel saved him from a couple witches. But the twist is that those were his parents. Vin Diesel killed his parents.
Yeah, my only problem with the reveal is it's done very, very quickly.
I actually,
I wish they had spent a little more time. Like maybe show us a bit of a flashback in the beginning when Elijah's like, "You may not remember me, but you saved me from a burning house from witches," and then show the flashback again, but then reveal the whole truth of it when he reveals himself at the end.
The fact that the screenwriter worked with Vin Diesel for his D&D character leads me to believe that the screenwriter spent a lot of time having actors tell him things and him going, yeah, sure, man, sure. Yeah, I'll get that in there. And I suspect that the Elijah Wood might not have originally been a villain because he is a villain for all of 3 minutes. Like
not even
yeah,
that.
he's just like, haha, I'm the villain. And he explains it, and then he gets killed. And it's
he
like
gets killed by a swarm of plague flies.
Yeah, he doesn't.
It's pretty metal.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
There's so many metal moments in this movie.
Oh yes, this movie's metal as shit. The weird skull spider monster.
Yeah,
which,
the Sentinel.
Yeah, when the first time you see it, they have a criminal which they think murdered Michael Caine, and it grabs him and it drags the guy off to Azkaban. And the funniest thing I love about that is it comes alive, the statue. It grabs him, and it's, like, terrifying. And he says something like, you're never going to see the light of day again, Vin Diesel says to the guy. And it drags him into the darkness, and then you hear a door shut. And it was like, oh, That's so polite of the giant monster to shut the door.
Giant fucking black magic homunculus closed the door behind it.
How many times were they like, can you just shut the door when you drag them down into the depths of hell?
Can you enchant that thing to shut the fucking door? It gets freezing in here when we hold our wizard meetings.
It's the weirdest. Like, it's a single sound.
Yeah.
Because you don't see it happen. You just hear it. And it's so comical.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy it's in there.
Yeah, it's pretty great. This is all perfect. It's all a perfect film.
It's a perfect film. I love that Vin Diesel, his, the investigation starts by him finding, like, some stupid plant in Michael Caine's apartment. Where he
it's a root specifically used in dark magic spells.
Right, and he takes it to this blind witch who's making people eat bugs.
Mm-hmm.
And
he owns like a cupcake shop, like a trendy cupcake shop, and he's grinding maggots into them.
It's such a good decision. It's so weird. Also, like, those cupcakes must have been delicious because everybody loved him. He was like the soup Nazi.
Well, yeah, I assume he's putting a spell on them through the bugs.
Right. I would have eaten them.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you knew there were bugs in them, would you have eaten them? I would have eaten them.
I don't know. I assume after the first bite, you're like infected with the magic. But
that's true. They probably aren't delicious. You probably are just.
They might just taste like maggots and bread.
Okay, but what's the difference? Like, if they were delicious in your head, does it matter?
You just believe that they're delicious because you've been enchanted.
Yeah,
mesmerized, as it were. One of the things I wanted to say when we, talking about this film is I really like the way that magic looks in this movie.
It looks great
because it's scary and it's like scary and gritty and it's just the decision they made as far as how magic would look and be treated in the movie is really cool.
Oh yeah.
Regardless of how you feel about like the plot or the acting, like the magic is cool in this movie.
Yeah, but also the plot and the acting is cool.
Yeah,
the movie, as you can, as people can probably tell, the movie is kind of ridiculous, but in the way that doesn't matter. In fact, I think makes it better. Like the thing I was getting to was that when he brings it to the blind guy, and he shows him the plant. The guy, he like threatens the guy, and he says, "I met a man. He smelt of arsenic and crabapple." And Vin Diesel immediately is like, "Thank you, I got all I need." And it's like, really? And then the guy, Elijah Wood, asks him why, and he's like, well, in the Civil War, they used arsenic at funeral homes. So we just have to find a funeral home with a crabapple tree. And, like, that is the worst detective work I've ever heard.
Yep.
Because there are so many other places that arsenic could come from. But he's 100% correct.
Yeah, of course he is.
Best detective work.
He's the last wish hunter, man. Just draining investigative threes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, man. The concealment spells are really cool. Like that leads into one where it cuts from him telling Elijah Wood it's going to be at a funeral home. Now get out of my car. We see this kid follow this trail of gummy bears.
Oh, I love this.
Through an alley into a backyard, and it's this shimmering gummy bear tree. And then he's picking up the gummy bears, just like all just excited and dancing with his candy. And then Vin Diesel shows up and it's like, hey, and dispels the magic. And it's just like this. It's this fucking vacant lot with this shitty dead tree, and he's been scooping up these rotten crab apples.
And I guess the question there is that spell in the witch who cast the spell, is he planning to kill the kid, or does he just think it's funny to have a kid eat crab apples?
The character, it seems like he might just think it's funny.
Yes, which I appreciate. Because, when they bring him into the Council of Witches, which is a thing that exists in this.
Oh, yeah.
An underground council. He says, like, you look like a bad 80s band, which I appreciated.
Because they do.
Because they do.
They look like Bauhaus.
Yeah, they do. I really appreciate that premise of witches love to trick kids with candy. Even like the fairy tales are right. Witches are real dickheads to kids. Like in that sense, it could just be the way like people who live in the country might like casually hunt. Like he might just be doing that, where he's like Like, it's for him, it's like a nice juicy rabbit he can have every now and then. It's like, look, I put the candy tree in the back, and it's filled with poison crab apples, and then you got yourself a kid corpse that you can drag inside every now and then. And it doesn't happen that often.
And it's really, really funny.
Yeah, it's hilarious to watch them eat the rotten apples. Just like scarf them down excitedly.
Just choking those things down.
Yeah, and then just vomiting and
spilling out of their
over.
eyes.
Yeah.
But they're so excited because they think they're eating gigantic gummy bears.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I totally get why that guy did that.
Yeah, I get why they would do that. I just love that that's just a regular thing. Because it's clearly like... That implies it's in like their nature. Because the whole... I don't know if we've explained this yet. There's a truce between humans and witches. It's like Blade-ish.
Yeah, it's very much like Blade.
Yes, there's a witch world and a human world, and we've had a long truce, and Vin Diesel's a witch hunter, is in charge of making sure that truce works. And the way it works is that he catches witches, and then he brings them to the witches to police their own. But what the tree implies is that it's like in their natural... Like, witches just naturally love tricking kids with candy, it feels like.
There's probably an element to that there, but we do meet like Rose Leslie and like her other friend, the witch, who we don't get to see. But like, I don't think
is that
it's
the one
necessarily.
We see her corpse?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that all witches are evil.
No, I guess I'm being
just
I'm
right.
being
He just seems
racist,
to have.
But...
Maybe that guy just shares, a grandparent with the witch from Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah, I think it's more that
know.
it was like a tactic witches used to use. It's in their culture.
Solid tactic.
It's in their culture. That's what it is. It's a
Kids
cultural
are stupid.
Form of like a protest almost. Like it's an extremist witch.
Oh yeah,
thing.
yeah. That's him doing a demonstration.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's not killing the kids, then that's just him being a dick. And the main rule is they can't use magic on humans, which takes all the fun out of it of being a witch. But whatever. And yeah, there's like witch bars and witch societies, and that's where he meets what did you say her name is? I just know her from fucking Game of Thrones.
Rose Leslie is the actress's name. I forget what her name. Chloe is her name in this movie.
Yeah. He
goes to her for a memory spell because they realize that Michael Caine is only cursed and not dead, and that he left Vin Diesel a note by pressing his bloody thumbprint into 3 different words in a book that said, "Remember your death."
Right. Detective work. And so, he just kind of runs, and this is the Indiana Jones part, because he goes needing something, and she clearly doesn't want... She wants nothing to do with him, and then the villains come, and they have like a bar fight that sets her bar on fire.
Yep,
and she ends up going with him.
Just an Apal scene from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I love when she gives him the memory thing, and he puts it in his mouth and falls asleep, and she goes to take a selfie and says something like, say witch hunter, and he just goes, witch hunter.
Witch hunter.
Yeah, because he's tricking her, and then he goes, be nice. Yeah. And then actually takes it. That's a solid gag.
Sweet.
They're pretty good together. I felt like he was, and I don't think it's true because I looked it up, but I got this feeling that Vin Diesel was wearing lifts on his shoes.
He might have been.
Well, according to IMDb, at least, he's 5'11", and she's like 5'4" or 6. So it checks out. I think it's just his costume naturally, like the boots and stuff. I don't know why I suspect it was a wild
very well might
guess.
be wearing lifts. I don't know.
Yeah, it just
it's a thing
felt
that
like
actors
a thing.
do.
Yeah. Oh man. What did I
then the evil wizard shows up, beats his ass at the bar. Well, sort of tries to beat his ass. Vin breaks his hand getting it out of a handcuff and then wails on the dude. And then the dude does this weird like teleporting through the ground with magic roots.
Right, and he gets
tendrils
like his
and shit.
hand stuck in the ground.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. This movie rules.
This movie fucking rules. It looks fantastic.
It looks great. Yeah, like I said, the magic is awesome. Just the concept of it, and all the effects look pretty solid.
Yeah, and like little things that like the way they play with the magic, like they interrogate a witch by squeezing her the little gem she has that keeps her looking beautiful. So when he's like cracking it, it starts making her fall apart, and then. What's her name? Chloe. She steps on the end, and she like disintegrates into like grossness.
Yeah,
and calls her
pretty
a bitch.
Sweet. Yeah,
it's so good. He has a sword that's on fire.
He has a sword. I love the exchange when he's getting geared up for the final battle, and Chloe comes in and she's like, "I'm going to help." He's like, "No, you can't help me." And he pulls out his sword, and he says, I never gave it a name. My enemies came to calling it Hexenbane. God damn it, I love this movie.
It's so good. It's so nerdy.
Hexenbane.
It's so fucking nerdy.
And then he clarifies Witch Slayer.
Witch Slayer? Oh, man. Which is, he says that to Chloe, right?
Yeah.
If I were her, I'd be like, offensive.
Yeah.
Like, don't
It's like,
tell me
it's
that.
like pulling out your like blood and honor knife.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
Jesus, Vin. Did you, like, why are you, even if that's true, even if they called it that, you think he would be like, but I don't like the name.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to have a truce. I won't
Yeah.
brag about it. Like, I think that's a bad name. Mm-hmm. But he loves killing witches.
He sure does.
He really does.
Although he reveals at the end, he's like, you know what? I figured out I could have killed every single witch on the earth. I did the math. I've been here long enough. He said, but I didn't because I showed mercy, and it's what makes me different from you witches.
That's a pretty bad brag. You know,
Weird
I could have
flex.
killed all of you if I
Yeah.
wanted to. I could have genocided your species, but I showed restraint
With Hexenbane.
with Hexenbane.
Hexenbane.
It's all that all sounds like some real like incel shit to say.
Oh, yeah.
It's so nerdy. I love it. Michael Caine has a line I just wanted to point out where he looks out the window at like when they're fighting the main witch queen and there's like dark clouds coming out.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, "You're an
This is
ugly
like-
bitch in the morning
Ugly bitch of a morning.
of a morning,"
Yeah.
which I feel like Michael Caine would just say to New York anyway.
Well, yeah, I feel like he says that like half of every day he gets up.
Yeah, just looks out the window, stares straight ahead. Michael Caine is in this.
Michael Caine is in this movie.
Yeah, barely, but enough. That
Barely.
Is, Vin
He's
Diesel,
I think he's only ever in the one room.
right?
He's laying in a casket.
Yes. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does not go anywhere.
He lays in a casket and then is just in his apartment.
Yep. It doesn't matter though. Vin Diesel knows. I think he knows that one of the best things to see is him acting with any like old British actor. Mm-hmm. Or just good at like even the scenes where it's just him on a bench with Elijah Wood. It's like I can't picture these people hanging out ever.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad they found each other, if only for this one beautiful moment in time.
This one glorious meteor fragment of a film.
And
Just
yeah,
blazing across the sky all too briefly.
like he does these scenes with Vin Diesel with Michael Caine. Like, what is Michael Caine? Do you think Michael Caine's ever seen a Vin Diesel movie?
I don't know.
I don't think he's even seen this movie.
I would be shocked
Yeah.
if he'd watched The Last Witch Hunter.
What if, God, I wish it was the opposite.
But what if he fucking loves it?
Yeah, what if he sought him out and he was like a huge Triple X fan?
In your next sci-fi fantasy epic.
Yeah.
I need this. I need it. I'll
He
do
was-
whatever I'll be the kindly old mentor that says things to you and then probably dies off screen.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're like, man, we don't really have a place for you, so we're going to have to cut you out of most of the movie. But we'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just, yeah. We already got Elijah Wood. He really wants to be in this, too. He's a huge fan of Vin Diesel as well. He hates Triple X State of the Union because it doesn't have him. Mm-hmm. Which, I never saw that, the second Triple X. What's the point of seeing it without Vin Diesel? It's
I don't know. I never watched any of them, to be honest.
First one's great. First one's fantastic. Third one's amazing as well. They're kind of on the same level of Vin Diesel, and again, I'm pretty sure he knows what he's doing. But he manages to make movies that are really entertaining and awesome, legitimately, but also kind of oblivious to hilarious things in it.
Yeah.
Because Triple X starts with him like it's so. Even when it came out, it was so panderingly radical, where the movie starts with him stealing the car of a congressman, and it's like a car with like a skateboarding is a crime bumper sticker, and he shoots a viral video about how this congressman is anti-skateboarding and
anti-extreme sports.
Yeah, and anti-rap, and then he jumps the car off a bridge and parachutes, and it's like him like talking about rock like it's just music, man, and it's just like it's so. And then his apartment is like has skateboarders skating in it, and it's like
I've
a
seen
rave.
that. Yeah, he lives in a loft that has a half pipe in it.
Yeah, and it's just like this is so what a 13-year-old thinks is cool, and I love it. I love it so
like
much.
Right, because you're like, this is so like what an adolescent boy thinks is cool, and man, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And he has like a scene where he like Sherlock Holmes a scene like they keep doing these moments where he's like, oh, this big tough guy is actually really smart, isn't he? And it's like it's so like weird and braggy. And again, it doesn't seem self-aware, but it doesn't matter because it's fucking awesome and hilarious.
Yeah. It's so great.
He gets on a motorcycle.
It's all done so earnestly.
Yes, and that's so nice to see. He gets on a motorcycle in Triple X and he jumps over a barn, and a helicopter shoots bullets into the barn, and the barn explodes. A barn. It pops. It explodes like it's filled with gasoline, and it's like this yeah. It's the best thing ever.
The same thing happens in this movie when he slams his Hex and Bane on the ground when he's fighting in the witch's lair in the opening sequence, and the whole place explodes. Yes. I was very confused.
Yeah, but what does it matter?
I was like, wait, what happened?
Yeah, what did he do? What spell did he use?
I don't know, man. he just lit his sword on fire.
What is he, by the way? He's immortal. But he was a man, right? And he was out witch hunting. Yes. And they became immortal. And is that it? Is that the only thing special about him?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't understand why that sword does any of that.
I don't know.
Because if it was like magic, if he had like a... Like, you know what you know what? I don't want to say anything to criticize this movie, but you know what it could have used, and maybe the sequel that we'll get after this podcast will have?
Yeah, for sure.
He should have a wizard Q. Like a Q who's like, I made you this sword. It has a spell on it, and he doesn't. And he doesn't understand it. But it's sort of like then he's not so much of a wizard racist. Like he has this sort of wizard that, like that's what they do in this more or less.
Kind
he gets paired up
he's
with
like
a wizard.
A guy that he's like a guy that learned some very basic magic so he can do his job.
Right. Yeah, because he does that rune surgery in the beginning. I can't stress that enough. He takes little tools out and he surgically separates the runes.
He's separating the runes. The runes.
Yeah. Like he's like,
I don't know. I think I feel like adding another character is kind of because
that's what I mean about
like,
sequel. That's what I mean about
Van
sequel.
Helsing.
Yeah.
Or he has that. Yeah.
I was thinking like sequel. You could if you can't get Michael Caine back. You know, if you need someone new. Like I know what you're saying is that then it makes it like everything else. It's supernatural James Bond.
Yeah,
but
there's
or
just have him be the guy.
Yeah, you're right. He could be the guy. Good. Yeah. He could be his own Q. Vin Diesel loves being wicked smart in his movies, and so like he loves the I'm a tough guy but I'm smart, which is fine. That's cool angle. So yeah, him doing his own like basic magic would be cool.
Yeah.
His arc in this is that he kind of wants to die.
Yes.
He has beardy dreams where he looks like Kratos from God of War.
He does have some bearded ass dreams.
Yeah. With like a Picard Nexus family.
Yeah, he's stuck in the Nexus. He sure is.
Yeah, he gets Nexused a few times in this.
Yeah. Where he's like locked in a past memory with his dead family.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and he has to escape the memory, which is really cool. I like that. It reminds me of actually like the new Spider-Man, where it's like he has to escape a hallucination in a way. He has to escape fantasies. And they did a pretty good job, I think, because the problem with doing that is like it's not a physical action; it's a mental thing, and I think they did a pretty good job at making it work. Whereas fantasies are kind of like spilling into reality a little bit.
Yeah.
They did a good job. This is good.
Yeah.
The director
really fucking rules.
Yeah, I don't think the director's done much. I looked him up.
It's Breck Eisner, right? Which is a name I recognize, so I feel like he's probably done some other kind of popcorn action movie.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't when I was looking at this and the writers. Yeah, Breck Eisner. He did Tom. He did Sahara.
Oh, he did Sahara, yeah. He did and Tango and Goddamn Cash. Although he didn't direct it. He didn't direct Tango and Cash.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why it's great, though. And The Crazies, which I never saw.
It's not bad.
Okay, I believe you.
Yeah, the remake, to be clear.
Right. The writer was Corey Goodman. He wrote Apollo 18. Now
Yeah,
it's
he
getting
did.
better and better.
He fucking
did
did. What a dream team.
He did Priest and Underworld Blood Wars as well. Holy shit, this movie's great.
Yeah, this movie just is the best.
I'm trying to I'm trying to figure out how to explain to people why this movie's great without it just being like ironically funny, because it
There's
scratches
elements
an
of
itch.
that. Yeah.
Like that first scene on the plane is silly, but it's also kind of not like anything I'd seen before, because it's right away it's establishing this relationship he has with the witch world, where it's like a teenage witch who just says something like, I didn't do anything, like talking to him like he's a cop.
Because he kind of basically
because he is. He's witch cop.
Yeah.
And it's like
Witch cop.
yeah, and it's an interesting scene because you're not sure what's happening right away, and there's like this storm raging outside, and then he says something like, you know, you can combine this cold air rune with this moisture, what's going to happen? And they look out the window and you can see like what looks like it could be a fucking tornado coming towards them, like this like really creepy weather that's like dark, and it looks good, like it's a good looking scene, I think. Like the colors are a little that they have that blue-gray thing that's kind of annoying.
A little bit.
But right away the film knows like this was an interesting way to fucking like grab your attention, and it does. It immediately grabs my attention.
I think it's the same. It occupies a similar area as the Fast and Furious films, particularly the newer ones, where it's like, yeah, there is an element of ironic enjoyment to it, but it's also just so fucking crazy and out of control and just
yeah.
It's, and again, done so earnestly.
Right. Would you like to know who the cinematographer is and what he's done?
I would love to.
Well, Tom, he did Triple X.
Of course he did.
But he also did Stealth, The Alamo, The Bone Collector, Waterworld, Last Action Hero, Super Mario Brothers, Dances with Wolves, City Slickers,
what a career.
Young Guns, Cocktail. This guy is great. Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. This guy is fucking, oh man.
This man
Mad Max 2. He did Mad Max 2 as well.
He did the Road Warrior. No shit.
Yeah, he did Road Warrior. Let's see. Did he do Mad Max 1? I don't see the first one, which would make sense because that was more indie. And maybe they were like, okay, let's get a guy on this. His later career is less great. He did The Do-Over, The Ridiculous Six after The Last Witch Hunter. And before it, he did Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
I mean...
Yeah, they can't all be gems. He did 2002.
You got to go where the money is.
Apocalypto, did I say that one?
You did not.
He did Click. So he is... Man, and he did The Longest Yard. So it's like a combination of like Vin Diesel, Adam Sandler, and then classic films. And Waterworld, which is kind of in between all of that.
It's a classic in and of itself.
It's a classic the way I said Super Mario Brothers and Last Action Hero also. Yeah, this movie, there's so much talent behind this movie, you guys.
It's a man.
It's a movie worth seeing.
It's a rare opportunity, a rare cinematic treat.
Yeah.
To watch The Last Witch Hunter.
Yeah, if you're a nerd, if you're into D&D, immediately see this movie.
Oh, especially if you're into D&D.
Yeah,
this movie fucking rules.
This is what the Dungeons and Dragons movie should have been.
Yeah. It definitely shouldn't have been what it was.
Yeah. If you're a sucker for like fantasy bullshit, like if you not only like Harry Potter, but then all the crap that was like thrown out because of the success of Harry Potter, if that shit just gets you off,
right? Like
immediately
if you're
see this movie as well.
rock hard for the Spiderwick Chronicles, then you need to watch The Last Witch Hunter.
Like there's niche groups that should immediately see this movie and probably already have. Vin Diesel fans, that's another one.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I also think that if you just like fun movies, like if you're a big fan of like the Con Airs of the world and the Face Offs and the ones that don't have Nicolas Cage, if that's your jam, like 90s action, this has that same feeling, and maybe that's why it gives me comfort.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, because it's like kind of that 90s action movie feeling that I get, where they're like they're taking risks, they're doing stuff that's like you wouldn't normally see, but the hero is just sort of like a infallible hero. and it's
he's
fine.
a superhero. It's like Vin Diesel's a superhero in every movie he's in.
Yeah, except for like Find Me Guilty. I never saw that one. If you give him hair, he's definitely not a superhero in Saving Private Ryan.
He sure isn't.
Yeah.
He definitely gets shot.
Yeah, super shot. But yeah, mostly superheroes.
Mostly, yeah. When he's in control, he's a superhero. He's a superhuman.
Right, yeah. Oh, this movie's great.
A metahuman breakdancer.
Hmm. He should breakdance more in his films.
He should, man. He should have breakdanced to fight the Witch Queen.
Yeah. God, what is he up to? I bet. Oh, he's rumored to be in the Avatar 2. I forgot. That was actually confirmed, I think.
Right. He's going to be some creature that they ride, though, right?
Yeah, probably.
He's probably going to be some creature.
Okay, I just found my favorite thing he's involved in.
Yeah.
It's in development. The plot is labeled on IMDb as plot kept under wraps, and the movie is called Muscle. So that's going to be great.
Yeah, man.
Also in production, XXX4.
All right.
A new Riddick film.
Oh.
And Tom, in development, The Last Witch Hunter 2. Now, don't get too excited because that I think IMDb is that again they heard one interview where he was like, "Yeah, I want to do it," and then it's got its own page. I think that's how
put it up there, create the listing just in case.
Yeah, just in case.
It's like when newspapers write obituaries early just for older celebrities.
Right. Either that or they while we were making this podcast they sensed it.
I think it's that thing.
Yeah.
I think if we had looked it up at the beginning of this podcast, it wouldn't have been there.
Right, but now it's there.
But now it's there.
And there's no way for us not to know. It's
nope.
It's Schrodinger's Witch Hunter.
That's just the world I choose to live in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I believe in us.
Mm-hmm.
Me
too.
I believe in what we did here today.
So do I. So watch the goddamn Last Witch Hunter.
Yeah. Do you have any other final thoughts on this?
Other than just that it rules, man. This movie's fucking awesome.
It's so good. It's so
I
good.
so enjoy this movie. It's
all right. I think I can compare it to Constantine is another one.
Yeah,
tonally.
It's very much like Constantine. Yeah.
If you liked Constantine and you like that sort of a contemporary view on old legends, legends like the Bible. It's like that though. It's like this kind of fun modern take on something that's a little stupid, but also really, really awesome. And make some bold choices, like a fucking monster closing the door behind it.
Yeah, that's right up there.
What was that thing? Do they feed it? What does it do all day?
It's just it's a little scorpion that lives on that lady's brooch, and then when she needs it to become the Sentinel, it crawls into its giant robot body.
So
it's that statue is like its Gundam that it climbs into.
Fuck, you're right.
Yeah,
that's weird. Because
remember, he rips the tiny little scorpion out and just crushes it in his hand, and that's how he beats the Sentinel.
Right. I know, I'm sure she has some sort of spell or something, but if I had a pet, my cat, if I had a big Gundam that I could put my cat in, I wouldn't do it because I think she would immediately kill me and escape. Because I don't know. I've never spoken to her about it. So maybe she's fine with me. But the point is that when you have a little scorpion, you're taking a big risk of being I'm going to take the scorpion brain, put it in this giant thing that can rip me limb from limb. I assume there's some magic that she controls.
For sure, it's like a familiar, or it's it has a singular purpose, which is to guard, make sure none of the prisoners leave the jail, which is why it attacks Vin Diesel.
Right. I want to know more about this world.
Yeah, man. It's just D&D, bro.
Yeah. I just want more of it. I want a game. They should make a game like the Riddick game that they did.
Oh, yeah. Escape from Butcher Bay.
Yeah, that was a great game.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, that Vin Diesel.
Man, that Vin Diesel's killing it.
Yeah. He's on top of the world, man.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
I think that's a sode.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
Oh, yeah. Guys, thanks for listening to us.
Thank you for contributing to the creation of a Last Witch Hunter 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to do it together. We're going to do it.
It's going to happen. Mm-hmm.
Hashtag Last Witch Hunter 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, this was Patreon.
Patreon
related.
exclusive.
Yeah, no, not exclusive. This was just mandated. Patreon mandated. Yeah. So, like, if you're interested in that stuff, we also have other tiers. And like I said, you can go to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We have a $5 tier, $10 tier, and so on. There's like exclusive nights where you can watch movies with us. Movies like The Last Witch Hunter.
Witch Hunter.
We got exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder's a Maniac. We have TeePublic store, tpublic.com/store/gamefullyunemployed. We're adding new shirts like every day right now.
We're getting a huge influx.
Yeah.
Many of them designed by our lovely patrons.
Yeah, our listeners. So thank you.
You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
You rule almost as hard as The Last Witch Hunter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, almost. He's one Hexenbane length ahead of you. Yes. You are the flaming sword to my meaty Vin Diesel hands. Mm-hmm. And I will use you to blow up a coven of witches.
Just detonate a tree.
Yeah.